Hello, hello. You're watching Trending with the Tennessee Tribune. I'm Ashley Northington, the agency director and founder at DENOR Brands and Public Relations. And we're here on behalf of the Tennessee Tribune with Vincent Dixie, who's running for state representative for District 54. We're here to learn more about the candidates running for office so that you can be informed about the issues that matter to you most. So let's jump right in. How you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. I'm well. I'm doing amazingly well. So I want you to introduce yourself to the viewers and tell them why you're running for office.
My name is Vincent Dixie, and I am a native Nashvilleian. I've been lived in the district pretty much all of my life. My wife, Erica Dixie, we've been married for 19 years. Last week, like 19 years. And we have two daughters, Noelle and Hannah. They're 13 and 11. So I do have my hands full with all three ladies, being the only guy in the house. We do have a male dog.
Okay.
A miniature schnauzer named Whiskers.
Okay, I love Whiskers. Great.
Right, Whiskers, the dog with the cat name. And I wanted to run for office because I knew that we needed some leadership in this community that really care about the issues that the people care about. They need a voice to listen. I go to a lot of community meetings, and the overwhelming sentiment that I get is people want somebody that can listen to them and that will take their concerns to the next level. And that's what I do. I listen. And I sat back in the meetings and I listened, and I felt like it was calling me to run for office because I think I'm the best person for this position.
So, if elected, what would be your top priorities over the next 12 months?
Over the next 12 months, there's three things that I'm really passionate about, and I have personal stories about each of them. There's three things: criminal justice reform, education, and healthcare, especially for our elders, seniors. The reason why criminal justice reform is so important to me because I had a friend, he was 22 years old. He did something that he probably shouldn't have done, but he did his time, served his sentence, probation. He's never even had as much of a speeding ticket, but he got a felony. So now we're in our mid-40s, but it's hard for him to even get a job as a salesman because he has this felony on him. And I believe that if someone that's committed did their time, completed their sentence, and they've not been in trouble, they should be able to get that expunged from their record so they can move on and be a productive citizen in their community. Because at the end of the day, whether you go to college or you get a job after high school, you have to be a productive citizen.
Sure.
And I think it's unfair that he's not getting that opportunity. Education, I think that's the way that we can combat that because it's been proven the more education you have, the more likely you'll stay out of the criminal justice system.
Sure.
And we have to start with the younger kids in elementary. For instance, my wife, she's a teacher at Alex Green Elementary. But the issues that they have at Alex Green are a little bit different than what they have at Junior Green. And I think you can't just throw a blanket over that, and you need to allocate different resources for different school systems, not school systems, but in schools individually. And I think that those little kids, they may need some mental health services. They may need just a hug sometimes. They may need some clothes. They may need an extra meal. So then you have to do that in order to get all this together. And with health care, especially for elders, I lost my mom on February 1st of this year, and I was a huge mama's boy. But I'm okay. I'm good. She prepared me for this moment, and my mom did everything you're supposed to. She worked for AT&T for the L South for 30 years, and so she retired with a small pension and Social Security benefits, which is most people that live in our community. That's what they do. They live on, so they depend on that. So at the end of the month, my mom had to make some real decisions. Do I pay for my shelter? Do I pay for groceries? Do I pay for my medicine? And that shouldn't be a choice that someone who's basically by all means have lived a productive, positive, productive life. And our elders shouldn't have to make those decisions just to live. For instance, I'm a diabetic and my mom's a diabetic. Some of my medications are free because of my insurance. Hers was $180.
Sure.
And that's not right. I would rather, I'm younger, I can go out and earn more money, but I would rather pay on the front end and have it pay for a senior rather than that. And so those are some things that we need to address and really need to start fighting for immediately.
I understand. No, that makes perfect sense. So I've heard you talk a little bit about your passions, and I've heard you mention that you want to do some differentiated solutions to address the issues in the community, and I've heard you mention that you've attended lots of community meetings. What else have you done to prepare you to serve the residents of District 54 in the Tennessee House of Representatives? What do you feel has prepared you for such a position?
There's several things. One is just, obviously I've talked about my mom. My mom, she instilled in me a great work ethic.
Mm-hmm.
And, to get up every day. I'm from a single parent home. And I don't ever remember my mom taking a day off because she was sick.
Mm-hmm.
And she got up and she go to work. So
Mm-hmm.
one is I just have a great work ethic because I saw it every day.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have the best role model as a father, but I had two older brothers that were great role models for me.
Wonderful.
Also, in what I do now, I have about 9 young men that I mentor personally.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
And I try to take the guys who have issues and I stick with them. One guy, I've been with him since he was 5. He's 26 now.
Oh, wow.
So, it's a lifelong thing. So these are like my kids. And I take it personally when they get in trouble or if they don't do anything. Because sometimes the environment can overwhelm you a little bit.
No, I understand. Mm-hmm.
And I think that I'm just a hard worker. And I know that once I get in, I started my own business with only the money in my pocket.
What's your business?
I own a bail bonding company.
Oh, okay.
Bail you out bonding. And
Yes.
yeah, so I started my own companies with just me by myself. So now I have over 20 people that work with me and in 5 counties.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm used to getting in, rolling up my sleeves and doing the work. And sometimes you can't pay somebody. You gotta get in there and do it yourself.
I understand.
And I understand you just gotta get in there and just roll up your sleeves and go to work. And I understand that the climate, with it being in the minority, that every day you're gonna get in, go to work, and you're gonna come home with probably a headache. But that's what I'm ready for.
I love it. I understand. So I heard you talk about multiple issues, healthcare, education, etc. If you had to pick one issue, what would you say the biggest issue facing residents of District 54? And what is that issue, and then how do you plan to solve it?
I would say the biggest issue would probably be education, the school systems. On a state level, there's some things you can do to introduce some programs, but you really have to be able to work up and down with your council person because it's more of a local issue. But what happens in my district is happening in Jackson, Tennessee, it's happening in Memphis, it's happening in Chattanooga, and everywhere in between. So if you can fix it here,
Mm-hmm.
you have a chance to fix it all over.
I love that. I understand that. I understand. So here's our last question for the day. Why should the people of District 54 vote for you?
Because I'm the greatest. No, I'm just joking.
Well, you can be the greatest. I think being the greatest is fabulous.
Yeah, so I am the greatest. But I just felt like I say, given my history and my work ethic, and that I'm willing, I have the support of my family, which is a big deal. Before I even started, I sat down with my 2 daughters and said, hey, this is what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about this? Because this is going to be a family decision. And then I talked to my wife, and it was like, hey, let's go for it because we understand and we want to leave a legacy of giving back.
Sure.
My mom always talked to me about giving back. If she had $2, she would give you 2, but luckily she taught me to keep 1 and give 1.
Okay.
And she would give 2 away and figure out a way for her to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just the way that I was brought up, is
Mm-hmm.
you have to give back. Just because you have a little bit more than the next person, there's somebody always in a worse situation than you are. And my goal is to try to fight for the worst of the worst, fight for the people who don't really understand that they need to be fought for. And I feel like I'm in a position to do that.
Wonderful. Well, folks, you've heard it here first. We've been talking with Mr. Vincent Dixie, who's a candidate for District 54 in the Tennessee House of Representatives. That's all we have for today. Thank you for watching Trending with the Tennessee Tribune.